The first thing is this fabulous lavender amethyst. Isn't that gorgeous? This one is also very beautiful. This is shungite. Now, I'd been hankering after this for quite a while. It was on my birthday wish list and Dan brought me this. So this is by David DeAngelis. Now, he worked with David Bowie. Here we are, here are some of my hats. This is just a selection of my hats, and I'm going to show you this one. Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today is Tuesday the 14th of October, and I am bringing you another new to me. First of all, I would like to thank my subscribers, old and new. There's a number who have very recently subscribed, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you, whether you are newly subscribed or whether you have been around with me since my early days here on YouTube. Now, new to me is hosted by Kimmy's Kitchen and More. And anyone can join in. It's an open collab. So if you would like to do that, all you need to do is in the description write hashtag new to me, hashtag open collab, and don't forget to tag at Kimmy's Kitchen and More, so we can come and find you and see what new things you have. Of course, they don't have to be new, they can be secondhand from a thrift store. They can be new, or perhaps they've been gifted to you. I have 3 things to show you. So without further ado, let's have a look at them. The first thing is this fabulous lavender amethyst. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at all those crystals. Now, Dan bought me this when we were in Lavender in Suffolk 2-3 weeks ago as a belated birthday gift. And I do think it's rather beautiful. Now, amethyst is a really good stone to work with if you're, for example, trying to kick your habit, or if you want to form a deeper connection with your higher self and the higher chakras. And you can also use it for connecting with the soul star chakra as well. I do think this is rather beautiful. I've always been very fond of amethyst. I do have an addictive personality, and I've found this very good for working with. Makes a fantastic healing crystal as well. It helps you hone in on any bad habits to help you correct them. I especially like the shimmery, glittery little crystals in this piece. They twinkle like stars. As I've said, it's very good for helping you to engage with your higher self and your intuition. We all have an instinct, a primeval instinct, but not all of us tap into it often enough. Perhaps if you need to look deeper for, say, inspiration or enlightenment, if you're looking for a solution to a problem, then you can work with amethyst. You can use it to meditate with as well. I think that's rather beautiful. I have a whole bookshelf which has lots of different crystals on, and I have them dotted about other places as well. I never get bored of crystals. I'm always looking for interesting new ones. I'll show you a few of the ones I've got. So these ones are very beautiful. They weren't expensive either. I saw those in a metaphysical shop down in Broadstairs, and Dan bought me them last year as an early Christmas present. Then this one is rather beautiful. This one is a Lemurian crystal. And then I've got a big chunk here of rose quartz in its natural form. That's very good for emotion and friendships and any kind of relationship, in fact. Peace and harmony. So if there's a fracture in any of those areas in your life, you can work with rose quartz. Himalayan crystal. I bought this at a rock and gem show a couple of years ago. This one here is a beauty. This one is also very beautiful. This is shungite. I did use this for a while for shungite water, but this has now taken a rest for a while. It's been cleansed, and I keep it here just to protect from EMFs in the room in general. Dan bought me this gorgeous rose quartz heart. This is an agate, and that reminds me of a planet. This is also very beautiful. I bought this from a shop in Carlisle. Garnet in arfvedsonite. I kept the label on because I find it difficult to pronounce the word. And then up here, more crystals. This one is also very beautiful. That big palm stone. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I've got my little crystal skull. And then up here, along with Frida Kahlo, are some more crystals. That also looks like a planet. Got some big bad boys there as well. So that's just some of my crystal collection. The next thing I'd like to show you is this, the Starman tarot. Now, I'd been hankering after this for quite a while. It was on my birthday wish list, and Dan bought me this. So this is by David De Angelis. Now, he worked with David Bowie, and David Bowie said David's work is potent visual alchemy. It tells you about David on the back. It says, tracking back to how this all started, the spark of imagination that would one day blaze into the Starman Tarot was ignited when the spectral figure of David Bowie walked into the Italian restaurant my dad managed in Old Compton Street, London. It's in Soho. I was just 10 years old, hanging out, drawing with paper and pencil. Little could I have imagined that 20 years later I would once again find myself sitting beside Bowie, pencil in hand, sketching artwork idea for his next album, Outside. The concept of the Starman Tarot was born in those years I spent working with David Bowie on the albums Outside and Earthling. The deck is a weaving of tantric sci-fi imagery and sacred geometries. The subversive energy of punk, street art and experimental typography. With the dramatic intensity of Caravaggio, it draws on shamanism, ancient philosophies and scientific innovations. Each card is a compelling microdrama arriving fully formed yet simultaneously shape-shifting. The Starman Tarot is meticulously crafted to shine light and birth new understanding and insight into the compelling drama of our lives. With creativity at its heart, it seeks to reveal an astonishing new reality sitting behind the world we directly experience, the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. And then at the bottom, David de Angelis. It's very beautiful, very special. I wasn't expecting this beautiful deluxe version, but it's very much appreciated. And yes, David Bowie may have been flawed, like we all are. None of us are perfect, and I'm sure, like he, we've made many mistakes along the road of life, but he was in fact a very wise individual, and he embraced his fate with courage and wisdom and fortitude. So let's open this together, shall we? And I might look at one or two of the cards. And yes, David Bowie was a very spiritual person. And another spiritual person, of course, with Prince. They spoke their truths with confidence and authenticity, and encouraged us to take heed of events that had more meaning and significance than we may have realised at the time. Beautiful. I like the pink, that flash of pink. There's a gorgeous book to accompany the tarot. Now, a lot of people, of course, use the Rider-Waite. Not all tarot decks are the same. Some of the more modern ones do have different interpretations from maybe the Rider-Waite. Dan and I consider the Rider-Waite, although it's quite easy to read, maybe a little more of a negative deck than some others out there. I really like the artwork. David is certainly a very talented artist. Three of Cups, I'm here to be celebrated. Just wow. There we go. It's about personal power. Sometimes I've had tarot decks in the past. I've bought them because I like the look of them. When I got down to it, they just didn't resonate with me. The back of the card looks interesting, if you can see that. Here we have the Starman. Remember, we all come from the stars. We're all made of star stuff. I'm going to give these a good shuffle, and then I'll pull a card. Now, incidentally, on Saturday it is the rally at Marble Arch in London. It starts at 1 o'clock against digital ID. So if you're able to go and you want to stand up against the planned system, then the more the merrier. Remember though to keep it peaceful, and that really annoys them because they're always looking to pick a fight. that if we remain peaceful and joyful, there's not a lot anyone can do and get away with it. I'm waking them up. On the 11th of November, there's also a day of national strike or mass non-compliance. The idea is that we stay at home if we can and don't go to work. It's a Tuesday, although we might not all have the ability to do that, but not to go online or buy anything online. And if we need to buy anything, pay in cash and buy things from local independent shops rather than the supermarkets. The idea as well is to promote non-compliance and rally against digital ID. So perhaps we could be asking a question about our endeavours. So let's think about that. Any message from the stars about the mass non-compliance and the success of those events? Remember, we come in peace and not with intent to cause chaos or violence or anarchy. We do not cover our faces, we have nothing to hide, and especially we have no wish to hide our truths or indeed our courage at standing up and saying no, we do not agree to this. And remember about consent, we have not given consent for any of this, and if now or in the future any of us as a human collector give consent, we are perfectly entitled to withdraw our consent at any time for whatever reason, whether or not explicit. And once that consent is withdrawn, if it is not accepted, then that constitutes abuse. And I think it's fair to say we do have a toxic relationship with the state. Our intention is to uphold democracy, which is rapidly declining. And I think that's the most I can say. So let's pull a card, see what comes out. I'm looking for the outcome of our intentions to uphold our sovereignty. One flew out. Hang on. 3 flew out. We have an 8 of Wands. We have a 5 of Pentacles. And we have a 6 of Pentacles. I'm putting the 8 of Wands in the middle. This Eight of Wands, as you can see, has quite powerful imagery. Can you see that there? You have a wand reaching out to the sky above and the moon illuminated behind it. You have a pyramid, which is always associated with knowledge. You've got another pyramid down here as well. And the wand is shooting out of the tree trunk below. And you have arrows. So this to me is we are taking charge of the situation in the best way we can. I had an itchy nose. That always means I'm onto something here. Right in the background there looks to be a chess piece, which is the knight. It's a horse. Like a chess piece. So we have already launched into the game of chess, which is humanity versus those who are supposed to be acting on our behalf but who do not, whoever they are. And we have launched our campaign. We are aiming high. And we are declaring, if you like, pushback. We are saying that we do not agree with what is happening, and we are striking back. It's a very bold move on the chessboard. It is important though to keep focused and your eye on the ball and not to get complacent. There's also a lot of detail that we need to consider, so not necessarily just to get caught up in the moment, but to realise the bigger picture. Stay positive and focused, but pay attention to detail. Things may not necessarily go the right way if we take our eye off the ball. There's a lot of, if you like, distractions at the moment designed to ensure that we take our eye off the ball. In other words, there are distractions that have been created in order to give those responsible the opportunity to do things or implement things behind our backs. And if we don't pay extra vigilance, then we may find ourselves in a tricky situation. And so many of those things have happened, you could maybe label it psyops. However you like to think of it, it's really important that we don't take our eye off the game. And here we have the Six of Pentacles, which is to do with money and health. It's really important that we focus on self-care and also on our pennies. We may need to find ways of manifesting money. If the system goes down, we may find ourselves in a tricky position. Yesterday here at home, our provider had a serious outage and we had no internet for several hours. We couldn't even connect on our phones. Obviously, if you need to carry out transactions online, then you're not going to have much luck. Therefore, it's important to make sure your prepping is up to speed and that you have access to hard cash. Remember the value of cash. Also, if you have an opportunity to buy silver and gold, coin and jewellery is probably preferable to bullion, since if you do end up in the future having to cash your bullion in, if you have more than 11,000, it's subject to capital gains tax. So you would need to be careful if bullion is what you have about how you would liquidate the bullion, so you have enough to live on for your expenses. You've also got somebody upside down. Of course, we know about the hanged man. So yes, things can be quite challenging if you don't have the pennies. And of course, as a nation, a lot of our taxes has gone on various projects that perhaps we ought to be staying out of. Charity begins at home, and it's really important that we as a nation are put first. That hasn't been happening. Undoubtedly, it's up to us to make sure we spend time on emergency prep, or maybe more time. Some of us are natural preppers, but all of us can always do more. If we're going to participate in a special event on the 11th of November, then we may end up a little short of money if we've decided, say, to take time out of work and we don't know the full ramifications either, and we need to be able to take that on board as well and factor that into our decisions and actions. Also, apologies for having messy hair today. It's very curly. I'll be having it done in a couple of weeks, but this is like 3 or 4 weeks on, and you'll see it's getting rather curly. Then this is the 5 of Pentacles. It's interesting that those are together. We really need to spend more time on self-care, folks, and that includes mental health breaks. Remember, we can't do it all. Other people need to also pick up the gauntlet. I mean, we can have inspiring conversations with people and share things to get them out there. Sometimes it's all work and sometimes it can be desperate. Sometimes even if we work hard, it's not enough. So I'm not saying that these events will be the only events. I think we're going to need to do more. We have set the ball in motion and we have made clear our intentions, but it's a long road. It's not going to be solved by a petition and a couple of events. We need to be in it for a long haul, and there may be financial struggles and even health struggles along the way. Stamina, for example, not just physical but also mental stamina, and things like stress, anxiety, depression. So the best thing is probably to retreat, go into your cave or your sacred space for a day or two or longer if you need to, and connect to yourself and spend time nourishing yourself both physically and mentally and also spiritually as well. So if you're religious, spend time on prayer and contemplation. So there we are. Now, I will also say that, of course, the 11th of November is Armistice Day, the 11th hour of the 11th month, when we remember those who fought and died for our freedoms. And I guess that's why the 11th of November has been chosen for the day of the national strike. Before I go, I've got one more item to show you, and that is a new hat. Here we are, here are some of my hats. This is just a selection of my hats, and I'm going to show you this one. This one was crocheted. It was a gift from my lovely cousin Agnes, and I think this is super. Everything's crocheted. It's quite a sturdy hat, so it can hang well from my hat rack. I've worn this quite a few times already. I suppose it's a small bowler hat. That would be the best description. Anyway, I do think that's so attractive, and the shade is perfect for a number of different occasions. But I do love that band in the dark navy going round. Agnes was trying to show me how to crochet when I went up to see her with Dan back in June. Dan actually videoed it, so I can hopefully pick it up easily during the winter months. I suppose it's similar to knitting, but I've got to get my head round just doing it with one needle rather than two. That's the bit I haven't quite grasped. But I do love this hat, and it's so comfortable. It's exactly the right size. It's absolutely lovely. So thanks, Agnes, again. It's amazing. She'd also made me a softer crocheted hat in purple with a pink flower, and I'm looking forward to wearing that in the winter as well. I have some dummy heads upstairs. I have some more hats on those, the softer knit, and also 2 or 3 flat caps as well. Isn't it lovely? I do like that. Anyway, that's all for today. Which item do you like best? Do you like this lovely lavender amethyst crystal, or perhaps the Starman tarot, which is a lot of fun? Already I can see that I resonate quite well with that one. Or perhaps my jaunty hat. I love this. It's perfect. Please share and please subscribe if you enjoy my content and like what I do. Ding the old notification bell, ding ding ding, so you don't miss my next upload. And I will see you again soon for another video. Until then, bye for now. That's what I like.